Peace, love, and prosperity to all of humanity on planet Earth. This is Abdul Al Kabir, Sultan of the Empire of Morocco. Um, as of June 8, 2024, de jure legitimate. Now, there's another guy named Kendon. He's the fake fraudulent sultan based on a coup d'etat. Uh, do not get confused between the two. Today, we'll be discussing, we were going to follow up with the last class, which was the French correspondence with the United States. Um, um, After the French government had gained authority over the empire through the Treaty of Fez. Um, we had completed the reading, and there's a part two to that, but we will segue today, change the subject for a second, just to take the time and opportunity to honor um, our great prophet and warrior and revolutionary freedom fighter, the first man in Black history. Notice what I said. I didn't say Moorish history. The first man in Black history to actually tell us that we're tripping. You're actually Moors. Black history is very short. It's not a long history. Moorish history, however, is quite ancient. Black history is ever since naturalization. So there is no other political figure that's ever pointed out and let us know that we were essentially Moors, descendants of Moroccans. And that would be Prophet Noble Ali. Um, and since him, no one has ever spoke on it either, other than his followers, those who attempted to carry on his works through the Moorish sign symbol of America. Now we know that it was infiltrated, but that's another story. It was infiltrated, uh, and it was led astray, but that's another story. Let's focus on um, confirming this session here is to confirm based on international law and European correspondences confirms what Noble Drew Ali said, what Noble Drew Ali was trying to teach us. Let's start off by um, taking a look at chapter 47. Oh, I got to share my screen, don't I? Can you all see my screen, or I need to share the screen?
We can't see it as of yet.
Okay. Okay, can you see the screen now?
Islam, yes, sir.
Okay, Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa, right? Okay. Is this a religious book? Circle 7, Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Is this a religious text? Okay, no need to answer it. Get to a point. Can somebody do me a favor and read this chapter for me, please?
Islam,
Starting with the chapter.
chapter 47, Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa. 1. The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan.
Don't count off the numbers. Just read through it.
Yes, sir. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa, the dividing of the land between the father and the son. The dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit Northwest Africa. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with
All
their
right, then
canon
for a second.
Islam.
So far, I'm gonna ask that question again. So far, did you read religious doctrine?
Nope.
Anyone else want to answer that? Did we just, up till this point, have we read any form of so-called religious doctrine?
No.
Yes, actually, I would
You
say
say yes.
I would
Okay,
heard
so we
that.
got one that say no, one that say yes. Who else? Let's get one other answer.
I've heard those names referenced in the Bible.
Yes, I know. I didn't say biblical. I said religious though. But someone else. I got one no and I got one yes. Anyone else? Is this religious so far?
No.
Anyone? Thank you. Thank you. So we got two no's and one yes. So I know why the Sarah said yes, because of the names that have been referenced in the Bible, such as Moab and things like that. Why do the Moors, why do others say no? If it's not religious, then what do you pick up on from this read thus far? If it's not religious, what are you picking up on? Something is prompting you to say no, it's not religious. What are you picking up on?
History?
Our origin story.
Okay. Origin story, yeah, that's it's like a
Politics.
historical, like a thank you. How is it politics?
We're talking about nation building.
Well, in order to build a nation, or in our case, in order to rebuild our nation,
Oh,
we need to know what.
establishing jurisdiction.
But hold on, I asked the question. You already had your chance. Now you want to answer.
Islam. Because it hit
um,
me. I'm like, oh.
um, what was the question? What was I saying? That's my train.
You were asking the people
Oh,
that
oh.
said no, why
In
did they?
order in order to in our case, in order to rebuild our nation, we first need to know what.
Identity.
As
See,
as
where is
black
Egypt? For the
as black
interest?
people as hold on as black people who lost knowledge of self, don't know who they are,
Right. Our
what
proper identity.
the proper identity,
Our
but
mother.
not just the proper identity, the name of your country,
The location, right?
the
Okay.
name of your country,
Name of our country.
where you come from. If you're going to rebuild your country, because that's why I use the term rebuild, because it was already built. It took a fall, now it has to be rebuilt. So if you're going to rebuild it, you got to rebuild it back in what? Its ancient name. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Well, unless you're going to go establish another country. But if you're rebuilding your country, that means you're rebuilding it based on its ancient name. What is the ancient name of our country?
A Maxim.
You're killing me.
Oh, no, no.
Morocco.
The Sharifian
Morocco.
Empire.
Let
Empire of
me
Morocco,
highlight it.
Sharifian Empire.
Let me highlight it. Let me highlight it. Are you paying
Right,
attention?
right. Pardon self.
So it's politics, jurisdiction. Which what we've read thus far is politics. civics, jurisdiction. Grand Sheik, would you agree?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I'm just listening. Yeah, 100%, and it explains it further. So that's why I'm still kind of being quiet. But yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's giving meats and bounds. If you pay it, it talks about the. Am I getting ahead of myself? No, it talks about the dominions. It says the
Correct.
dominion of Cush, and then it start giving meats and bounds. You
When
know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm
the
saying?
Israelites,
And so
Hold on, let him finish. Let him finish. Let him finish. Go ahead, Grand Sheik. Finish up, Grand Sheik.
no, yeah, you can go ahead
Okay,
because it's gonna
go ahead.
it's gonna get yeah.
Yeah,
Go
we're gonna
ahead.
continue to read.
Yeah.
I just had to pause and make a point. Go ahead, brother Noble L.
Yeah, so I wanted to add to what was read. So I have this book
Mhm.
called "From Babylon to Timbuktu," and in one of the paragraphs it says there were two Ethiopian nations in ancient times, Eastern Ethiopia and Western Ethiopia. This point, Dr. Spicer failed to elucidate, possibly because of an oversight. There was an Ethiopian civilization in southern Mesopotamia, Babylon, but the people in that region did not use their tribal name, Ethiopia, to designate their nationality. They called themselves by the name of the cities that they constructed and inhabited, or they called themselves by an event that happened there. For an example, God confused the languages of the people at the Tower of Babel. Babel means confusion in Hebrew. This
Mhm.
is this is why the Ethiopian tribes called themselves Babylonians, referring to the name of the city that they constructed. There are many nations that are not designated by their true nationality. For an example, the white Australians came from England, but those Englishmen who live in Australia do not call themselves by their ancestral name. They call themselves by the name of the country which they colonized, which is Australia. The people of Australia are represented in the United Nations by the name of their nation, Australia, and not under their ancestral name, England. The people who resided in the lower part of Tigris Euphrates Valley were Ethiopian, black in complexion. We read in Genesis 10:8 that Cush begot Nimrod. The word Cush means Ethiopia, and Cush was the father of the Ethiopians. For the meaning of the word Cush, we see Webster's New Cognitive Dictionary. Nimrod was a mighty Ethiopian conqueror and builder in the land of Shinar. We find in Genesis 10:8-10 that Nimrod ruled over such cities as Babylonian, Erect, Akkad, or Akkad, with two K's and two C's. All these cities are situated in the land of Shinar. Now, I want to stop there, but then I want to go to another
bro.
No,
paragraph.
no, hold up,
Go.
hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. Let's be clear. This class is specific to something. Let's not. I don't need you to take over the class while you teaching class. I see the point with what you read though, but the point is still what I'm trying to draw a point, make a point based on this read what we just read here that we got to continue to finish reading. And the question is it a religious or political? Does it have religious or political language contained in this particular read, chapter 47? Which
Political.
because we
It's
also look we could
both.
also
It's both. It's
because
actually both.
okay, okay, hold on a second, but we could also look at chapter 22, magistrates and subjects. You're there's truth in what you say when you say it's both. There is a mix, and that's kind of the point that I'm making. The Circle Seven is not a religious book per se. It's a political book shrouded in religion. You see, just the same way Jesus spoke in parables, quote unquote. Well, so did Noble. He couldn't give it to you directly, especially in the time, 1913, during all that oppression. And he used religion as a way, as a cover, and as a cover for protections to bring the truth to the people. We're also because here what we're looking at is jurisdiction. See, so it's politics and it's jurisdiction. Why is it jurisdiction? Continue to read so we can identify the jurisdiction. Even though we
Let's go
already
there.
identify the jurisdiction thus far.
Right.
And the ultimate jurisdiction is the Moroccan Empire. So we're talking about a country.
Right. Islam.
So, and he's telling you what country you come from. That's what the point of that is. And it's saying that you are the founders and true possessors of the present. Why do you have to say present? Let's unpack that real quick. Why did he have to say present? What's the point?
Because that's what it is presently.
1913. Presently, it was ran by what dynasty?
Alawite?
Alawite. The Alawite dynasty. Who runs the Alawite dynasty? Somebody got to mute themselves. There's a lot of background noise in your house or whatever, or cut the TV off maybe. Who runs the Who ran the Alawite dynasty in that present time?
Abdul Aziz?
Well, he was the Sultan. Well, not 1913. Yeah, I think it was. No, it was his brother by that time.
Oh,
Remember, his brother overthrew him.
yeah, right.
But that's not what I'm asking. It's being ran by Arabs, is what I'm saying. The Alawite dynasty is ran by Arabs. So he had to say that you are the founders and true possessors of this present Moroccan empire because the ancient one was ran by Moroccans. You follow what I'm saying? He's letting us know in so many ways the present, right now, the present, you are the founders and true possessors of it. Because currently it's being ran by Arabs. Even though Abdul Aziz looked like Lil Wayne. And I'm not saying that to be to be funny, to be silly or nothing. He really did look like Lil Wayne. Okay, brother, go ahead and continue to read so we can start to see a little bit more.
Sir. They were the founders. I'm gonna start this over. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit Northwest Africa. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sojourned from the land of Canaan seeking new homes. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa, across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands before the great earthquake which caused the great Atlantic Ocean.
Read that again.
Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa, across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake, which caused the great Atlantic Ocean.
We go way before the great earthquake. And that was the empire's, what word did I highlight?
Dominion.
Uh-huh. Jurisdiction. Jurisdiction. You got to break the code. You got to decipher the codes. But you need a certain level of knowledge in order to crack the code. What is that knowledge? Well, it's what we've never been taught to learn or study. International law, and more specifically, our treaties. So the Europeans may say, well, we don't know how far the empire goes back other than the last 1,000 years. And they said that we'll be going over that class. The question of Morocco. All right. And they would say, well, we don't know what all it composed of. Okay, well, there you go right here. That's the dominions. Their dominions and inhabitation, not just the dominions. We dominated and inhabited this territory, which extended from northeast. Isn't that Egypt? Isn't Egypt and northeast? Okay, let me show you something. Here we go again. Fix this. All right, let me show you something. Someone mentioned the expatriation document. This is the expatriation document. What did Hoffman Phillips say? Residence in foreign parts does not affect the nationality of Moorish subjects, and the Moorish government has no means of protecting its subjects permanently residing in other countries, with the exception of a so-called Moorish consul in Gibraltar and a Moorish agent at Cairo, Egypt. You follow my drift? Is everyone hearing what I'm saying? So that's Northeast Africa. This is Noble said in the Circle 7. Northeast and Southwest Africa. Is Burkina Faso in Southwest Africa? Is Niger and Mali in Southwest Africa? That's a real question. Can someone give me the answer to that question?
Yes.
Mm, mm,
Yes.
mm. So then it makes sense why Ibrahim Traore told Macron, the French president, that if it wasn't for my ancestors, you wouldn't even exist. Did you hear what I said? Because it's the empire why France exists. So he's not Burkina Faso. That's not his nationality. You see what the brother just read, which was very germane. I appreciate the read. It's very germane to our situation. We take on other names. Keep in mind, Burkina Faso is not an ancient country. The land is ancient, not that name, though. Ibrahim Traore looks American to me, like a black American. He looked like he would have grew up in Detroit somewhere. He's a Moroccan. He's not African. He's not Burkina Faso. He ain't none of that. The people of Niger are not Niger. I don't know how you say their nationality. They're Moroccan. All those people are Moroccan because it's northeast and southwest Africa. Across Great Atlantis, even onto the present North, South, and Central America, which means that North, Central, and South is what? What is it called? Is it North, South, Central America, or is it North, South, Central what?
Morocco.
Okay. Jurisdiction. That's the domains. This is not religion. This is politics. This is civics. This is jurisdiction. This is statehood. So what is Islamism then? Must be statehood ism. Go ahead, brother. Continue. The river Nile.
The River Nile was dredged and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdoms. Also, the Niger River was dredged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the River Nile, westward across the great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored
Hold on.
race.
Point of order, Islam, if I may.
Go
If
ahead,
I
brother.
may. That statement right there about the River Nile and that's a deep study, and I'm gonna just maybe we'll get a chance to go over there in some class or something I do or something. But so the River Nile, and it's talking about the Mississippi and the Amazon River as well. You know what I'm saying? Cause don't so lower level thinking, if you just reading this, you'll think that's talking about over there. It's talking about over here. See what I'm saying? When it's talking about the Nile, it's talking about the Mississippi. I was talking about both of them because we had two Nile. It was the West, you know what I'm saying? It was the White Nile and the Blue Nile. So it was like Upper and Lower Egypt or over here and over there. See what I'm saying? The ancient, when it say ancient, it's talking about over here. And I have the lessons that corresponds with this. And like the Psalter saying, the prophet was talking in code. You know what I'm saying? It depends on what you know to what you picking up on. But the rivers, the Nile River over there, if y'all know, it flow quote unquote backwards. You know what I'm saying? It don't flow like other rivers. Just look into that and look into the River Nile and the Amazon River and how these rivers
Well,
go.
isn't the Mississippi wasn't before the Great Flood when everything
Hmm.
was one? Wasn't Mississippi and River Nile the same, just one long river?
Yes.
Wasn't it? Okay,
Yes. And so, and if you notice, it said Atlantis. You know, it didn't say Atlantic at first. So it said Atlantis
right.
before the great earthquake. So now you can, the prophet is challenging. See, this as a scientist, you got, I'm like, okay, an earthquake, it got to be some geological records of this happening if this really happened. You know what I'm saying? If not, he just blowing smoke up my ass. You see what I'm saying? And I'm like, I want to go check it. And so there were great earth. Now it's coming out now about the earthquakes and the mudslides and all of that. So that's what is he referring to, these earthquakes and these mudslides that happened. But the Atlantis, that thing happened like 50,000 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So that's giving you information to go back. Well, I probably, yeah, it might be more than that, to be honest. I don't want to shoot back, but that was an ancient occurrence that happened with the Atlantis and all of this. So then we come up to the Atlantic, to what we dealing with today. Because if you look on, like the brother was reading, if you look on some of those maps, uh Ethiopia was just like a demarcation line. It was just like the splitting up of, it was like a dividing of North and South. It's not, and like the song was saying, it's not like, you got to think in the context. It's not what the context of what we think today after we've been watching television stuff our whole life. You know what I'm saying? It's different. I yeah.
As long as you can, like you said, you break the code based on what you know. It's just based on knowledge. And the higher degree you achieve, the more capable you are of cracking codes. I tell you, understanding international law, statehood, jurisdiction, that a field of study, jurisprudence, real jurisprudence. See, the Moors think that knowing municipal laws is jurisprudence. No, international law is jurisprudence. That's what they call international jurists. But when you have that knowledge, you can now go back to old concepts and be able to quickly, swiftly identify the misconcepts. So that's why I've always said, in hindsight, after studying and understanding, not just studying, but understanding international law, in hindsight, Noble Drew Ali's teachings hit different. It absolutely does. I spent a great deal of time studying Noble's literature before I came into international law. So when I started studying international law, see, that's a natural progression, and we should not interfere, allow ourselves to interfere with our own journey of forward progress learning. There's always the next level. There's nothing else higher than international law, unless you're talking about intergalactic laws. That's a whole nother story. Let's master international law before we get into intergalactic laws, because that exists. Um, so when you achieve the level of international law, you go back and you study Noble Drew Ali's literature, it hit absolutely different. His A lot of his statements and prophecies. When he said that, when one of the main ones is when he said, one day the wheels of industry will stop turning, and when it comes back online, it will be in favor of the Moors. That's decolonization. But if you understand the concepts and the mechanisms and the result of decolonization, you wouldn't be able to pick up on that. When he's carrying the woman on the cover of the 101s, crossing over into the rock of salvation from the cares of the world, which is the waters, until you understand the Treaty of Madrid, Article 15, you wouldn't realize that he's literally crossing jurisdictions. He is choosing the entire submission. He's leaving the American jurisdiction, going into Moroccan jurisdiction, rock of salvation, Morocco. You can't spell Morocco without rock. Rock of salvation, right? That's Article 15 all day. That hits different in hindsight once you study international law. So I beg you to increase your degree, start studying international law, and all of his teachings will hit different. Go ahead, brother. Continue reading.
According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race. descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. Where your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction.
Pause right there. This is part of what kills me about my good brothers and sisters of the Moorish Science Temple. Um, they don't put two and two together. He said that we're descendants of Moroccans born in America. Here he says that what your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. So, if you're descendants of Moroccans, that means that the Moroccans are your forefathers, yes or no?
Yes.
So then, therefore, what your ancient forefathers were, you are today without a doubt or contradiction. So, how do we allow ourselves to become American? Did you hear what I said? He said we were
Sir.
descendants of Moroccans. Well, that means that we're Moroccans without a doubt or contradiction. What changes everything, though? What changes everything for us? Back to the expatriation document. Moorish subjects lost their nationality only by becoming naturalized in or protected by another country having treaty relations with the Moorish Empire. Citizenship in Morocco may be said to be governed by the laws pertaining to the same in other countries, with the exception that all persons residing in Morocco who cannot prove foreign citizenship and protections are considered ipso jure as Moorish subjects. So then when he tells you that, then what does he say? This was established by the Convention of Madrid, concluded July 3rd, 1880 as follows. Any subject, so he's telling, okay, let's make this clear. They ain't talking to you. They ain't talking to me. They're talking to each other. But we're just reading the transcripts of this conversation or correspondence, which puts us in a very privileged position. Very unique, special, privileged position. What position is that? We're in the position, and I'm talking about us right now reading this, or at any point, really. What position are we in? What situation are we in? We're in the position of being a fly on the wall. Think about what I just said. Imagine a secret meeting with the Illuminati or one of them, and they're talking about the Moors and how they're going to conquer the Moors. Wouldn't it be such a wonderful thing for you to be a fly on the wall, where you get to eavesdrop on a conversation so you can get the truth? Because see, if they're telling you, they're not going to tell you the truth. But if they're talking amongst themselves and you get to eavesdrop or overhear that conversation, you know that they're telling the truth because they're talking to themselves about you. Does that make sense? Do y'all hear what I'm saying? So in this conversation is between Hoffa and Philip, the charge d'affaires of the United States, stationed in the American legation in Tangiers in the diplomatic body. I'm scared to ask, what's the diplomatic body? What's the diplomatic body? Somebody tell me what the diplomatic body is. Man, somebody better give me that answer. I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm already bald headed. I'm gonna pull more hair out my head. Okay.
Where
Which
each
one?
country had their own legations.
Where did they have? Where was it located?
In
Who?
Tangier,
Okay, and who governs the diplomatic body?
the Morocco,
The Empire of
the
Morocco.
Empire of Morocco. Yes, sir.
And it's the first what? United Nations. It was so the diplomatic body is a central point where all the foreign Europeans had a post called legation. American legation, German legation, Russian legation, British legation, Spanish legation, Italian legation, Dutch legation, Netherlands, Portuguese legation, so on and so forth. Because all those states belong to the empire and the sultan. So that's his way of overseeing all his territories. That's called government efficiency. So Hoffman Philip was a representative on behalf of the United States at the diplomatic body in the American legation in Tangier. And he was reporting back to the Secretary of State, Elihu Root, in 1906. You see it up here? Mr. Phillips, Charge d'Affaires, to Mr. Root, Secretary of State, August 3rd, 1906. Where is he coming from? American legation. Where? Tangier, August 3rd, 1906. So he's reporting back to his superior because he was requested some information and they also asked for him to confine his remarks. You see what he said here? There are, however, numerous treaties and conventions between the various Christian countries and the Moorish Empire, by means of which citizenship in this country is defined. But as I understand from the above acknowledged instructions, that it is not the desire of the department. So there were some instructions that he acknowledges. And those instructions is that it is not the desire of the department to call for a report upon such lines. I will therefore confine these remarks to general conditions existing. In other words, I'm going to try not to say too much because this is for public consumption. Do y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
He tries not to say too much, but he still said enough. So what did he do? So this is 1906. So he's talking to the Secretary of State and he's telling them how we lost our nationality, which was by becoming naturalized in or protected by another country having treaty relations with the Moorish Empire. They're not being specific about any other country. So that's why he said naturalized in or protected, because the protected part depends on the jurisdiction of the other country. But as far as the United States, it's naturalized. But it could have been in Great Britain. It could have been in Germany. All those Moors that are black Germans and black British and black Russian and black
El
Spanish,
Paso.
Spaniards, they're all Moors. They're all Moroccans who were naturalized in a foreign country. And then he confirmed it based on the Treaty of Madrid, Article 15. Again, it's two white men talking to each other about the black man. I'm using connotative terms for a reason. Any subject of Morocco who has been naturalized in a foreign country and who shall return to Morocco shall, after having remained for a length of time equal to that which shall have been regularly necessary for him to obtain such naturalization, choose between the entire submission to the laws of the empire and the obligation to quit Morocco, unless it shall be approved that his naturalization. How many times are they going to say, or the treaty is going to say naturalization in a foreign country was obtained with the consent of the government of Morocco? That's paragraph 1. That's the status that we would be in that takes away the jurisdiction. The second paragraph is the status that accepts the jurisdiction. Foreign naturalization heretofore acquired, going forward from here on out, acquired by subjects of Morocco, black people, the Moors, according to the rules established by the laws of each country, in this case the United States, shall be continued to them as regards all its effects without any restrictions. That gives you this is jurisdiction. Paragraph 2 gives them jurisdiction over your body. Paragraph 1 takes away the jurisdiction because now you have chosen the entire submission to the laws of the empire. You went back to the empire of Morocco. You repatriated back from being a black American to now becoming the free national name. I know we'll talk about the free national name is not El Bey De Ali or Al. It's not the free national name. The free national name, the key word is national, which is nationality, which means it's assessed to all the Moors. It's the nation, the name of the nation. The slave name of the nation, the slave name is not John Smith Jones. It is Black American or just merely American. That's the slave name. It's taking you out of your status. That is what he's talking about when he says that we were naturalized in or protected by another country with treaty relations with the Moorish Empire. Like the brother just read, you took on the name of someone else. In his read, he was saying at least we were taking on the name of territories that we took over. Now we didn't digress further to say, okay, now we're taking on the name of someone else's territory. We went from bad to worse. So in the second paragraph, you're saying that you're going to remain as an American. Okay, therefore, the laws of the laws would be applicable to you without any restrictions. You have to go back to Morocco, repatriate back to Morocco. An Italian American, if he doesn't want to be no longer under the jurisdiction of the American laws, he has to repatriate back to Italy, which means he has to denounce his U.S. citizenship and go back to Italy and hope that they accept it because they don't have to. Same thing for the Moors. You have to let go of your American nationality and repatriate back to reestablish, to regain your free national name, your nationality. The free national name is Moroccan. Because what did Noble Drew Ali say? Because what did Noble Drew Ali say? All right? Let's highlight it. Descendants of Moroccans. Born means naturalized. Born in America, so you became an American, i.e., Moorish American, Italian American, Chinese American, Korean American, whatever the last word is, American, that's what you are. You're descendants of Italians, naturalized as an American. You're descendants of Koreans, naturalized as an American. You're descendants of Moroccans, naturalized as an American. Moorish American. But what did he say? What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without a doubt or contradiction. So by consanguinity, you're a Moroccan. By political status, you're an American, i.e., Moorish American, which means you're still not free. You're taking on their nationality and flying their flag. Nowhere in Noble Drew Ali's teachings did he say that we are Americans or that the United States of America belongs to us. So why are we saying that that flag belongs to us? Oh, because Noble Drew Ali was flying it. He wasn't flying it to tell you that it belongs to you. It was again codes and symbols. It's a representation of two treaties. The Moorish flag represents the Moroccan treaty. The American flag represents the American side of the treaty. The Moorish flag represents the Moroccan side of the treaty of peace and friendship. It's between those two nations. That's why he's flying the two flags in the proper order with the Moorish flag on the left and the U.S. flag on the right, because it's the Moroccan American treaty. So Moroccan is on the left, American is on the right. The Moroccan flag is on the left, the American flag was on the right. That has nothing to do with America is yours or the United States belongs to you. The British Moors who built it, supposedly, are what? Moorish subjects of the British Crown who were naturalized in a foreign country as British. But they're actually what? Moroccan. Moroccan. That's how you say it in French. Um, let's make it make sense, Morris. Put two and two together and come up because two and two equals four, don't it? But we're moving as if two plus two equals three, 5, 7, 8, anything but 4. In other words, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense for you to sit there and tell me that I'm an American, but yet he said that we are the founders and true possessors of the Moroccan Empire. Now, if he had said the American Empire, now you got a point. But he said Moroccan Empire. He said that the modern name of the Moabites, who are the founders and true possessors, the modern name of the Moabite is Moroccan. Why do we keep ignoring that? And instead, we American, American. We go to the point of now Taj is telling people Al Moroccan. Well, we just read that it said Moroccan Empire. It didn't say Al Moroccan Empire. He said descendants of Moroccans, not descendants of the Al Moroccans. But you're trying to say that America, the word America comes from Al Moroccan. Okay, so what? Okay, so what if they played uh uh Soul Train Scrabble board games with with consonants and vowels to create the word America? It still doesn't mean that you're American. They're trying to attach themselves to you while you're trying to accept the attachment by accepting their name. This is just foolishness. That's basically saying that American, the word American, would be the denotative linguistic, but Moroccan is the connotative. So why are you trying to tell me to go with the denotative? Well, then I might as well go with black because that's the denotative linguistic to what a Moor is. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? We're being played.
Sorcery at its finest.
We're simply Moroccan. We're not American on no level other than naturalization. So you must forego the naturalization and repatriate back to Morocco. You gotta you gotta denounce America and go back to Italy. Italian American, if you want to get out of the American jurisdiction, you gotta denounce your citizenship and go back to China. Chinese American. Same for any other nationality. When you see anything American, that means that that anything is what they are, but then they accepted American naturalization. Born means naturalized. It's in the 14th Amendment. Persons born shall be subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Duh. We got to do a little better, man. So what does it say? There are, according to all true and divine records of the human race, there are no Negro, black, or colored race, or Moorish American, not as the proper designation of the people, or African American. What's the difference between an African American and a Moorish American? Keeping in mind, one of them is taking over 2 continents and the other is taking on 2 countries. Moorish American is taking on 2 countries. That's Morocco and America. But what's the difference between the two? There is a huge difference between the two. The difference is that the Moorish Americans have the light. That's why they call themselves Moorish. But they're still misguided by the American part. But they're closer to the truth than the African Americans. They're far. They think that they're African. Oh, you're just way out, way off. The Moorish Americans know that this is Morocco. They know that they're Moors. They know of the Moroccan Empire, but for some reason they're clinging on. They're clinging on the principles that dilute the slavery, accepting the nationality of an American.
Yeah,
But what your ancient forefathers were, you are today without a doubt or contradiction, Moroccan. That's what you are. We'll prove it we'll prove it further a little bit later on in this call. Continue reading, good brother. I'm sorry I went off for quite some time, but it was necessary to try to bring this thing together, attempt or at least attempt to do so, because we really have this fantasy uh relationship, this fanatical relationship with the Americans and America and Amaru Khan and Al Malakan and all these words that denotes back to you being an American. Webster's Dictionary, 1828, copper colored people are, it's applied. The word is, it's, there you go. American was applied to you. You're not American, it was applied to you. Again, What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without a doubt or contradiction. Period. Your consanguinity, your ancestral nationality is Moroccan. That has nothing to do with your current political status. Consanguinity is your bloodline. Political status is your current political protections. That's what needs to change. You're not an American. You need to repatriate back to Morocco to become a Moroccan again, officially for the record, uh, uh, with an ID that was issued by the state, not RV Bay Publications or any other organization, temple, church, association. It has to come from the state. It has to come from the country that's protecting you. Hoffman Phillip made it clear. You got to be able to prove protections from a foreign country. You got to prove citizenship and foreign protections to come out of the jurisdiction. Well, that jurisdiction exists now. It's called the Moorish Empire, of which I'm honored to be your servant as the Sultan. Continue reading, good brother. Let's finish this reading, then we'll move on to the next. Sorry for me,
Islam.
Ram.
There is Islam, no problem. So we need to hear that. There is no one who is able to change man from the descended nature of his forefathers, unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator, Allah himself. These holy and divine laws are from the Prophet, Noble Jew Ali, the founder of the Uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. I, the Prophet, Noble Jew Ali, was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day that is sure to come.
How do you repent from your great sin?
By reclaiming your nationality and entire submission to the Empire of Morocco.
Thank you. So then what is the great sin?
Um, Naturalization,
Why is that the great sin? The
because we're not being
naturalization is not the
ourselves.
sin. Go ahead.
We're not being ourselves by doing that. We're being imposters.
Yes, but let's go further. Why is it a sin? Is the question, right?
Yes, sir. Because what our
Right.
ancient forefathers were, we are today without a doubt or contradiction. Islam.
So what you're doing is you're disregarding your ancient foremothers and forefathers' name and taking on somebody else's name. That's the sin.
Right. Not honoring our forefathers, our mothers and
There you
fathers.
go. Honor thy foremothers and forefathers, and the days of the earth will be long, and y'all
May
know
be
how that
lengthened.
goes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's parables. It's parables. That's why it's riddles, parables.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But you
this is
got to
beautiful.
decode. So that is the
Yeah,
sin. So he's trying to redeem you from it by letting you know what? That you are the founders and true possessors of what empire? The
the
Moroccan Empire.
Moroccan Empire.
So how do you redeem from the sin? Repatriate back to your ancient country and take back the name of your ancient foremothers, right? So that you may honor them in name and principle. So the days on planet Earth will be whatever. You know how that goes.
Multiply.
Mm-hmm. All right, continue, brother.
Sure. These laws are to be strictly but every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form
No,
under
the
the
next one,
covenant.
brother. Number
Oh, next
15. We're
oh,
making good
pardon.
time.
Oh. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess his own.
Oh, interesting. See, I'll say it again. This is not religion. This is politics. This is government. This is civics. This is statehood. This is jurisdiction. But we've been put in the mindset, again, we've been bamboozled, hoodwinked, and led astray.
Right.
We've been put in a religious mindset. But didn't Malcolm Il Malik tell us that we need to leave religion alone and pick up nationalism, nationalism.
Mhm.
Okay, so what does it say? The time has come when every nation. Okay, let's unpack this real quick.
Right. I got a point of interest about this, a point of privilege about this too. So, because when I was Moorish American, in this part, the where every nation must worship under their own vine and fig tree, everybody was thinking that you have to be individual and create your own flag and seal. That's what with Abdullah Bey them. You create your own flag and seal and state as an individual by yourself, not as the empire. And that
Well,
was that.
that's not. Yeah, and that's not. See, that's not the way. What I am
Yeah.
saying, however, is this: every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree. Is the black man worshiping under his own vine and fig tree?
No, sir.
Which means it's time for the Moors to come back into statehood.
Islam. Let me Islam. This Holloway L.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad that here. It's crazy that whoever bro, he said that Abdullah was telling them that, which that is a part of it, because you do want to have you want to have your personal family crest and all of this stuff set up as a nobleman. But these are some very heavy, like you saying, these some very heavy lessons, and uh
Yeah.
it say on 16, it say through sin and disobedient, every nation is suffered slavery due to the fact that they honor not the creed and principles of their forefathers.
Exactly.
It
That's
say
the thing.
that is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was
I
given
wasn't.
to the
You're stealing my thunder, but go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah was given to the Asiatics of America who were of Moorish descent. But what I
Mhm.
wanted, so I want everybody to look at all these different connotations. Now you got he said something about Asiatics, you got Moorish descent. See what I'm saying? Uh, you got Moors, you got the Europeans, and this one little thing I like. Well, I'll let the salt to finish up, but uh,
Pause right there, Grand Sheet, real quick.
uh, go ahead.
Somebody read the definition of more in the Britannica.
More. In English usage, a Moroccan or
That's
formerly,
it. That's that. I don't care about nothing else
all right, Islam, a
because or
Moroccan.
doesn't matter. You see, or anything that precedes or is whatever else. But what comes first in English usage? A Moroccan. Descendants of
Oh,
Moroccan. Descendants of Moroccan. More. What's another way of saying? If you're going to say more, but then you're saying a bunch of people, you're not going to say all those. You can say all those Moors, or not. Let's not say that. Um, do you say a Moor man or a Moorish man? A Moor
more,
woman or a Moorish woman?
yeah, more. Yeah.
Do you say Moorish architecture or do you say more architecture? Do you say Moorish science or do you say more? So more is Moorish. It's pertaining to anything that's Moorish is something that's pertaining to the Moors or the Moroccans. So then you go back to and then he says what? Notice that he said Moorish descent. In other words, what I'm trying to tell y'all is that that's the very much exact same thing as saying descendants of Moroccans. Moroccans, Moor, Moorish is all the same. And you see in Britannica Encyclopedia, they said that in English usage, Moor means Moroccan.
Moroccan.
Continue,
Yeah.
Grand Sheik. That you inspired me to break that down real quick. But go ahead with what you were saying. I apologize
Nah,
for interrupting.
that's it. That beautiful camelback, beautiful bill. Cause that's exactly that's what I mean. We got to know that these words are synonymous. You know what I'm saying? And he said that because we honor not the principles of the mother of our mother and father. You was talking about that earlier, and straight after the gods of Europe, whom they knew nothing about. And also, you was talking about sin. Sin is debt too. You know what I'm saying? So any situation that you getting into and you putting yourself in some type of debt is is a sinful situation, and that's what he's talking about too. Dealing like you was talking about earlier, all these processes and stuff that these a lot of Moors be getting into. That's not even necessary when you understand what's going on. And all this stuff in the wrap up, because because I want to go on to the next chapter, the end time and the fulfillment of prophecy. Called uh he says some stuff in here, and I just really want to get a build on it. Because he said he said in 6. Scroll up to 6. I want somebody to read that. Cause he finna get real. He finna go real hard. Keep going. Yeah, down. Keep going down. I do you have it.
You said
If not, I
6?
can. Nah, my bad. I was talking about the next chapter, but if he just got that
Oh
chapter,
no,
I can.
I
No,
just
I
have
can
this is
read. I can
chapter
read it.
47.
I got it right
Mhm.
here. I can read. He said, "We as a clean and pure nation, descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe. Neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nation, as it was prepared for by their forefathers for their earthly salvation." See what I'm saying? So he
Indeed.
smacked, yeah. He went in on them two joints right there. And so he said we a clean and pure nation. And that right there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, what from what I'm looking and just seeing how everything has played out, the prophet set up the like we doing now. What we doing, we fulfilling prophecies because it's they call it equity. You know what I'm saying? Religious law. This is what the old sheiks taught me. Religious law and law of religion. The highest religion is law. You know what I'm saying? This is what they taught me, that it springs from that, and that the public and private side of everything. But the prophet, and this was in 30. This was before the 33 crash. You know what I'm saying? Before the stock market crash and all of that, and they set the matrix up on top of what was going on, which was the republic. You know what I'm saying? Which, so this is the part what you just, another level. So if the United States, if the United States is in Morocco, right? If everything is in Morocco, right? Is that's what I'm understanding, correct? From
Yes, I'll give you
that
one
article,
second.
that document that you were referring to earlier.
Yep. Right here. Uh
Right.
mhm.
So he was saying that, so to me, from what I'm understanding and looking at it now, from that, even that standpoint, when the prophet did what he did, it really just closed up everything, and that's what he said. He snatched the covers off all of the organizations, and so he said it was going to take us 100 years to figure out what he really brought. See what I'm saying? And we coming up on those 100 years right now, and so this is it right here. But I know it's redundant, but the two go. Well, basically, what I'm saying is the two go together. The temple is the
Fulfilling the prophecy.
yeah, the temple, they the same thing. Just like more Moroccan, they the same thing. You know what I'm saying? The temple, the lawful, like Temple 8, and it's just prophecy how it came together, because Temple 8 wasn't infiltrated. You know what I'm saying? They forgot about Temple 8 down here in Arkansas. They really forgot about it. Like, everybody forgot about Temple 8. So it really was like the jewel, a pearl, until I got to dealing with it, got back to dealing with, more stuff down here in Arkansas.
Islam. And I'm looking for
Uh,
the areas where it says United States in Morocco to confirm it for you, and we will get to that. But what I did pull up, or where I set it up in the areas in which they said that, turning first to the subject of the revision of the protege list mentioned in Mr. Pettit's note of September 14th, it is proper to state that the protection of native Moors in Morocco by this government rests upon its treaty with Morocco of 1836 and the Madrid Convention of 1880. This is them talking to each other. We are the native Moors in Morocco. So if we are the native, so if, and they said, protected by this government meaning the United States. Go back to the top. You see, This is the acting Secretary of State to the French ambassador, 1914, February 13th, 1914, Department of State. So they was corresponding back uh, to the French Republic. And in that correspondence, this is what they said. And what they said was that the native Moors in Morocco are being protected, protections of native Moors in Morocco by this government, the United States. So if the Moors are in Morocco, then where's the United States?
Right. Exactly. And point, I just thought about this. A point of interest is the Kingdom of Morocco did send an ambassador over here to honor Noble Drew Ali on his birthday in 1986, I believe.
Mm. In 1986?
Yep.
Wow. See, yeah.
So I
But
know they know. I forgot dude's name. I'm gonna have to look him up. He was a Moroccan diplomat. And it's like hard to find it, but I found it. And like he came over here, like one day he was at a hotel. They did a little, because I had a copy of the plaque at one time. I just thought about that. So yes, a lot of little hidden gems where they know who we are. We're not expressing it. You know what I'm saying? And my main thing is unity. And the public is unity. We just, you know what I'm saying? We just have to express unity. So, and the thing, so this is how the prophet set it up, because my phone kind of glitching. They might cut me off. So the prophet knew that it was going to be levels to this. That's why he said the information come in degree. So he said, if there's nothing else you do is to proclaim your nationality. See what I'm saying? And so the whole Moorish American thing, those are just members. That's when you come into that's why I said out of Sunday school comes the guidance of the nation. So that's letting you know that you coming in is one thing and you're going to come out as something else. You see what I'm saying? So the temple is the training grounds for whatever one person want to call themselves. If they comfortable with Moorish American, cool. If they comfortable with Indian, cool. If they, you know what I'm saying? Until now, we have the Moroccan Empire. It's expressed in this here. That's what the prophet was talking about. He said your nationality card gonna change in your pocket. He said that. You know what I'm saying? So I was staying tooth and nail on my square with anybody that this is what is divine and national that's supposed to be done. You see what I'm saying? What we doing right here.
Yeah, the curriculum got to be updated in the temple because everybody got
I'm here,
another
bro.
too.
Nah, it a lot of it really don't. A lot of these Moors just don't know what the hell they be talking about, man. Just to be honest, they don't be know what they be talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like the prophet, the portion where you said every nation supposed to worship other their own vine, the vine and fig tree. That is not what they were talking about. Everybody doing their own thing. That's talking about everybody supposed to be under their own jurisdiction. Every nation is supposed to be under their. That's a your vine and fig tree. That's a whole statement about jurisdiction. That's an old school.
It's about the Moors coming back into power within their own jurisdiction,
Yeah,
their own
vine and fig.
country.
The vine, one of them represent one of them, and the other one represent blood. You know what I'm saying? Vine is the blood. The fig tree is the tie to the land. The vine and fig tree.
Or yeah, right. But metaphorically speaking, flag and seal.
Exactly. Yep.
Your
Right.
own flag and seal, and your
Yep.
own laws. So
Exactly. I yeah.
so if he continued to say there though, he said through sin. What we were just talking about earlier regarding sin, right? Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That's the sin. And then he closes out by saying that is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America, who were were of Moorish descent because they honored not the principles of their mother and father and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing, to become American, British, Spaniards, Italians, German, Portuguese, Dutch. That's the sin, and that's the stray away. But what did he say? Who were of Moorish? We were and became something else. What happened there? Okay. Brother, read this for me. The Moorish Americans
Wow.
love this legislative act. They absolutely
19,
love it.
1933 Legislative Journal House, page 5759, resolution number 75. Mr. Whitkin, Mr. Speaker, I desire at this time to call up resolution number 75, printers number 1034. The resolution was read by the clerk as follows. In the House of Representatives, April 17, 1933, many sons and daughters of that proud and handsome race which inspired the architecture of Northern Africa and carried into Spain the influence of its artistic temperaments have become citizens of this nation.
Pause right there, real quick. And you know I like to pause and interpret things. If you were to look up, now listen to me. If you were to look up the fall of Granada, just a general basic search online, what you're going to find out is that these were Muslims, which is really a code word for Moors. Sometimes they'll tell you straight and say Moors, who came from where? North Africa. The story, the general story in the online or in basic research, does not attach the Moors of the West to that story. They always attach it to the Moors of Africa, the Muslims in Africa, North Africa, right? Who came from the Strait of Gibraltar into Sicily, really, right? Okay. Again, this is them talking to each other. This is their legislative act. This is probably the only legislative act that is essentially in alignment with international law. Because what did he say? He said, many sons and daughters of that proud and handsome race which inspired the architecture of Northern Africa and carried into Spain the influence of his artistic temperament have become citizens of this nation, the black man in the West. But why is it that the story doesn't say nothing about the black man in the West? They always say that that group of people came from North Africa. No, they came from the West. Perhaps their route went through Africa up through North Africa to get to Spain. But then again, we had what did we learn from the dominions? Northeast and South Africa, all the way over to the Atlantic Ocean. So that was the empire anyway. So we didn't even have to come from here to do it. We just told the Moors up there to do it. But it doesn't. But it's connected to the West. Absolutely connected to the West. But they disregard it. That's my point. And in that document, the question of Morocco, these Europeans, which are a bunch of delegates at the United Nations, talking about you and I and our empire, they said that we were placed in a dark closet. That's what they say. We were placed in a dark closet. Yeah. But this legislative act just revealed the truth, didn't it? That it was us, the so called handsome race, who became citizens of this nation. Because before that, we were something else. And they're going to tell you what it is. Continue reading, bro. I hope y'all understand what it is that I just said. Continue reading.
Yes, sir. In the city of Philadelphia, there exists a Moorish American society made up of Moors who have found here the end of their quest for a home and of the children of those who journeyed here from the plains of Morocco.
Where did we journey from?
The plains of Morocco.
When was this written?
1975. 1933.
Y'all be just reading it and be forgetting that quickly. 1933. 1933. What am I saying with that? When was the kingdom established?
In 1956, the kingdom
So
wasn't even
what plains
established.
are they? So what plains of Morocco are you talking about, Mr. Whitkin? In 1933. Don't confuse North Africa. You're in Morocco. Therefore, naturally, when he says journeyed here from the plains, that would automatically put you in the mindset of you came from somewhere else. That would automatically tell you, put you in a mental state of thinking and believing that you came from somewhere else, because it said journeyed here from the plains of Morocco. But the United States is in Morocco. So you didn't physically, that's not speaking physically, we didn't physically journey here from the plains of Morocco, not physically. That was not a physical transition. Remember the Wizard of Oz. Dorothy never left Kansas. There never was a physical transition from Kansas to the Wizard of Oz, was there? Yes or no? Come on,
Right.
boys. Wake
Right.
up. Let's dialogue. What were we doing? Right? So Dorothy didn't physically transfer to Kansas. Where, how did she end up in the Wizard? I mean, from Kansas to the Wizard of Oz. How did she end up in the Wizard of Oz? If it wasn't physically, then how was it? Mentally.
Mentally.
Which now also lends itself to what? Hear me out. If you journeyed here from the plains of Morocco, but you're in Morocco, not only was it a mental distortion, but also by the way of the pen, jurisdictionally. So even though you're in Morocco, you're subject to American jurisdiction. You're in Morocco, subject to American jurisdiction. And it wasn't always that way. That's proven with the Dred Scott case. He wasn't a citizen. So that means he wasn't subject to the jurisdiction thereof, was he? He became subject to the jurisdiction thereof later on when they wrote the what? 14th Amendment. Until then, he was a non-citizen of the United States, which means he was a subject of Morocco. But mentally, not physically, mentally, he journeyed to America, meaning he thought he was an American living in America, so therefore he petitioned the Supreme Court of America. You follow? Do y'all? Are you guys hearing what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Are we?
Like,
Does that
oh,
make sense? What I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Psychologically,
Swindled.
we never left Morocco. We're just in America mentally and therefore jurisdictionally. But the whole time, the land has always been Morocco. But they're also telling you that you came from Morocco. The white man told you that you're from Morocco. This is a legislative act. This isn't a book. This isn't some literature. This is law. And we just disregard it as Moorish Americans studying and reading this document. We disregarded the fact that we're from Morocco and continued pushing the narrative that we're American, continuing the sins that Noble Drew Ali redeemed us from, or at least attempted to, and was very successful until he was unalived. Well, this ain't TikTok. Assassinated, and everything was turned upside down. But let's see how it happened. How is it that this proud and handsome race became citizens of this nation and mentally allowed themselves to forget and disregard Morocco? How that happened? Keep reading, brother, please. You there?
The society has done much to bring about a thorough absorption by these people of those principles which are necessary to make them good American citizens.
Mm.
These Moorish Americans have since being here missed the use of the titles and name annexations that were so familiar at home and which are used in accordance with the doctrines of the religious faith to which they are adherents adherents, therefore be it. Therefore be it resolved, pardon me, y'all, that this House commends the Moorish American Society of Philadelphia for the efficient service it has rendered the nation in bringing about a speedy and thorough Americanization of these
Stop and read
former
that again.
Moors.
Stop and read that again.
All right. Therefore, be it resolved that this House commends the Moorish American Society of Philadelphia for the efficient service it has rendered the nation in bringing about a speedy and thorough Americanization of these former Moors.
That's what happened. There has been a thorough and speedy Americanization of the former Moors.
I can't believe I thought this document was significant as a Moorish American.
We all did. But I just told you earlier, once you start to study international law and the treaties, everything makes sense in hindsight.
Right. Yes, sir.
You're able to
Yeah, yeah.
dispel.
It's love.
Dispel.
If you look at it, this was a group of Moors. This was a group of Moors in Philly that did this. This wasn't even no Moor Science Temple. Yeah, it was like some ink Moors
No,
that
yeah,
had
right.
the
They
Philly
call themselves
Society.
the Moorish American Society of Philadelphia. That's not the Moorish Science. I'm not saying that it's the Moorish Science Temple of
Yeah,
America.
right. Yeah. So
That's not the point. What the
they
point
was bugging.
is what happened. How is it that we became Americans? There's been a thorough and speedy Americanization of the former Moors, not just in Philadelphia, nationwide, federal on a federal level. All black people think they come from Africa, and they now think that they're American. And the whole world recognizes us as black Americans. That's the point. There's been a speedy, and regardless on who did it. No, I know it ain't the most high symbol of America. This is right. But what happened was is that there has been a thorough and speedy Americanization of the former Moors. Look at this language. We journeyed here from the plains of Morocco to become citizens. How did that happen? Okay, well, there was a thorough and speedy Americanization of these former Moors. Well, if they were former Moors, then what were they before they were Moors or Americans? Or what does Moor mean even? Moroccan. That's the point that I'm trying to get to. But they called us former Moors, which means we became what?
Naturalized.
But we became black. We
Oh
became
yeah.
Americans,
Denationalized.
denationalized, denationalized. We became black. We became Americans, is what it is. The word is American. Black, Negro, colored, African American, Moorish American, Indian, Hebrew Israelite, Crips, Bloods, uh, Gods and Earth, 5%er, the Wapi and more. All that stuff means American.
Right.
Ultimately, U.S. citizen, all that means American.
Sin.
There's a lot of Moors that think that the word American is the protections because it's separate from the United States, and America is not the same as the United States, and the United States is a federal corporation, and America is it's all America. That's why there was an American legation. America is them, Morocco is us. Period. I can't stress this enough. The treaty is between Morocco and America. Period. That's what the treaty was about. And Morocco had the dominant position, the superior position, recognizing them to come over here and then recognizing their nationality as Americans. When I find the document, we'll be going over a specific document in which John Adams was petitioning Great Britain to be recognized as Americans and as the United States of America. Great Britain was giving pushback, cussing them out, literally, not with curse words, but like belligerently, saying that you ain't nothing but British subjects, and all we want to do is bomb you and lock you up and throw away the key. I mean, they were going in on John Adams and the United States because they saw them as traitors who were seeking to become someone else, and they were telling them that no one will recognize you. You're a brand new country. No one is going to recognize you. We're going to make sure that no one recognizes you. You're not going to be known as Americans. You are British. and you're traitors. This is what Great Britain was telling America. That's why the Sultan came in and said, all right, okay, I'll recognize you. Sign this treaty. They were trying to be Americans. Whole time they're arguing with Great Britain for recognition because they were like, man, you got some nerves. That's really what it was. You guys are just gonna disregard the crown and then turn around and ask the crown for recognition. Y'all crazy. That was ballsy. They was calling him de facto. John Adams ain't nothing but a de facto ambassador, and we don't recognize his title. This is crazy. I'm trying to tell y'all. Look, when I find that document, I will go over it. It was the Sultan who said, okay, I'll recognize you as Americans and your country as the United States. Whole time during that time, we were Moroccans in Morocco on flying carpets and free energy and everything interconnected. The land of milk and honey. Everything was working in synergy with everything. Electric cars and tall buildings and beautiful stuff. Tartaria. And then there was a speedy and thorough Americanization that caused those former Moors to now say, oh, I'm American. Ugh, the foolishness. You can finish off the read, but that's really all I wanted to say about the read. But let's go ahead and finish it off so you can see what they told you that you can do with your name.
Wow. And that, in accordance with the fullest right of religious independence guaranteed every citizen, we recognize also the right of these people to use the name, affixes El or Ali or Bey or any other prefix or suffix to which they heretofore been accustomed to use or which they may hereafter acquire the right to use.
You
On the
see? So
question,
now the Moors, you can pause, you can stop there. Now the Moors, oh, you see, we can use our names. Man, you gave them government, and you over here happy about them giving you a name or allowing you to use a name? I don't know why we stood on this document, but that shows how we've been, once again, bamboozled, hoodwinked, and straight away. There has been a thorough and speedy Americanization. So now that the black people are now coming to the understanding now here lately that they're indigenous to this land, that credit goes to the Moorish Americans. They were the only ones who were teaching that we were indigenous to this side of the world, not coming from Africa. Because before that, it was a big thing about coming from Africa and going back to Africa. Marcus Garvey, UNIA, Pan Africanism, RBG, red, black, and green, right? It's all in hip hop. The African medallion, y'all remember that? Everybody wanted to go back to Africa. The Moorish Americans is who, the Moorish Americans is who single-handedly convinced everyone, no, you're from here. So now they're saying, oh, okay, yeah, well, we are indigenous. So now all of a sudden, uh, Columbus Day is now Indigenous Day. But now you're saying that you're American though. Okay. I appreciate that you're now recognizing that you're from here. Now let's work on what the name of the land is. Ugh. Got another degree to go. It's Morocco. Sorry to tell you. It's not America. It wasn't America back in the 1700s. Back then it was Morocco. And we were slaves. If we were brought over here in ships in the 1600s, then who did it? Because the United States didn't come into existence until 1776, didn't they? So who brought us over here in the 1600s? Come on, man. We got to start asking questions.
Islam.
Islam pointing at your Sultan.
Yes.
Is there a way of, like, for example, we celebrate the Prophet Noble Joe Ali and his born day as, you know, as an example of our national holidays. For example, we have the Americans who have the 4th of July as their national commemoration day. Is there something, a day that we can venerate? I mean, we already do Prophet Noble Joe Ali's birthday, but is there like the day when the Sultan recognized the United States? Is there like a day that we can begin recognizing, like our 4th of July, for example?
Do we have an Independence Day celebration day or holiday type of thing?
Well, like when you guys did recently bringing the empire back online, is that like a day we can commemorate to?
When the time comes, yeah, we're gonna have holidays, of course, and
Yeah.
I think that we have been bouncing back and forth between March. I think March 13th. March 13th is the date in which um, the Declaration of Independence was issued. So that should be our Independence Day, March 13th.
Thank you. Just to build the camaraderie around amongst ourselves.
No, no, I get it. Yeah, that's
Appreciate
what
you.
I'm
Thank you.
saying. Hmm.
Peace.
And then June 24th could then be Independence Day. No, not Independence Day, Sovereignty Day or something. And we'll work on that. That has nothing to do with decolonization, though. Let's focus on completing that mission, and
Thank you.
let the people decide what day is what and when and however they want to do it.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank you
just
so much.
Yes, sir. I'll just sign off on it and roll with it. But you're damn right. We're gonna have these
No
holidays
calendar.
available to celebrate our um, forward progress. Okay, so um, real pure blood Moroccans. Look at that dude. Look like a black American. He look like the plug. His name is El Haji Siraji, a riff pirate. Read this here for me, please. The riff pirate.
Islam, Rift Pirates. The Rift Pirates. The coast of Rif is a portion of the seaboard of Morocco. At
I think it says
and famous for the piratical achievements of its inhabitants, who, though subjects of the emperor, only acknowledge him as their chief in a spiritual sense. It contains a dozen or so of wretched villages where none but the people who dwell in them dare to appear. So great is the terror inspired by these lawless brigands. The pirates most to be feared are those occupying the village of Azanim, situated at the end of a small bay on the crown of a wooded hill. The sheiks of this tribe of Riffians or ruffians are descendants of the race of Gulaya.
So now we know where the word Ruffians come from. It's the Riffian, the belligerent pirates of Morocco. Continue, brother.
That's where they
The
got the
things
word
we
ruffians
learn, brother.
from.
The things we learn. My goodness.
Right.
Go ahead. Continue.
And possess a large number of boats, well armed and appointed. It was these who, some time since, attacked the Prussian flotilla commanded by Prince Adalbert of Prussia, and who at various times.
Remember, real quick. Remember, Prussia. That was a country during the time, a European country that was in Morocco, that belonged to Morocco as one of the signatory powers of the Treaty of Madrid, I believe, or at least were there in attendance and mentioned. Prussia, the Emperor of Prussia. I don't know if you guys recall that in us reading these
Mm,
treaties. Continue, brother.
mm, and who at various times have beaten off Moors. Mute your phones, please.
You got Chief Kazi, Chief Judge of Dimti, Tyrone. You got to mute yourself, brother.
Chief Judge Mustafa Islam.
Go ahead.
All
I
right.
muted him.
Well,
Go ahead,
it
brother.
was
Mhm.
are descendants of the race of Gulaya and possess a large number of boats, well armed and appointed. It was these who sometime since attacked the Prussia flotilla commanded by Prince Adalbert of Prussia, and who at various times have beaten off disciplined European troops. The Emperor of Morocco at last saw the necessity of taking some measures to assert his authority over these defiant subjects, and accordingly he sent the Pasha of Tangier, bin Abu, at the head of an imposing force to collect the considerably overdue tribute levied on the people of Rif. Ben Abu succeeded beyond his hopes and returned to Abdur Rahman laden with a large sum of silver and gold. He was also fortunate enough to burn a number of their boats, checking for a time their lawless depredations by depriving them of the means of doing mischief. The head we have, the head we have
Engraved.
engraved is the portrait of one of these Berber pirates taken prisoner by Ben Abu, and a pretty specimen he is.
As this guy right here. What a pretty specimen he is. Look like my uncle. All right, continue.
However, the depredations of the pirates still continued, and the Spanish government at length resolved to strike a decisive blow against them. An expedition was fitted out for that purpose early in November, and it was so far successful that the pirates tendered their submission to the brigadier Buseta or Buqueta. But the matter does not seem to be concluded. The Emperor of Morocco has been appealed to by Spain for a satisfactory settlement of this difficulty, among others, and blood may yet be shed.
That's fine right there, brother. So you see, who petitioned who? Spain. The Emperor of Morocco has been appealed to by Spain. You see? Does not does that language does that language not tell you that Spain is subordinate to Morocco because Spain had to do what? Appeal to Morocco? So this is what a real pure blood Moroccan look like. Right? So that's El Haji Tabaji, a Rift pirate, the commander of the Ruffians. The Riffians or the Ruffians. So whenever you hear the word Ruffians now, thug or whatever, Ruffian, that comes from the Riffians. What else we see? Rift Pirates, Morocco, circa 1850. You would have thought it was a big ship, not a canoe. I'm sure they had ships too, of course. The Slave for Sale, Jean Leon Jerome, 1873. The Slave for Sale. And who's selling her? The matriarch. See, the matriarch. I can't make this up. Portrait of a Girl in Morocco, Mariano Fortuny Marsal, 1860. There's a girl in Morocco. Go ahead and internalize that portrait. So these people were painting the population of Morocco. Moroccan girl, Jean Leon Jerome, 1824 to 1904. Look like auntie, man. The reason why I say they look like certain people because of what I'm trying to draw the parallel in the fact that this is who you are. The same people that you see, or the same everyday people that you see when you go to the store or wherever in your own communities, look exactly like these people in these portraits. That's what I'm trying to say. Y'all familiar with this one? Portrait of Moroccans by Spanish artist Jose Tapiro Ibarro, 1830 to 1913. Internalize it. Look like one of the homies, man. And you would run into somebody that looked like him easily around the corner. Yes or no? Restored Benjamin, constant painting, The Funeral Day, scene from Morocco, 1889. So it's a funeral. Look at what he looked like. Look at these people in the background. Moroccans. The Cade Moroccan Tahami. Looks like French. Because that's how it's spelled in French. Marocain. These people are now begging for change on the corner stores. You look like one of the guys around the corner who's begging for change. One of them panhandler dudes. Portrait of Moroccans by Spanish artist Jose Zapero. I'm not, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Man of Morocco, Ferdinand Will, different artists, 1890. Now look at this one. Look at this. Look at this. Prisoners, Mordecai's, 1875. So you got this brother sitting here as a guard, all barefoot with flip flops and a sword. I think that's what it is on his lap. And these two white dudes in handcuffs, laying on the ground as prisoners. Just as recent as 1875. I didn't paint this picture, but do you see the picture? So when he says descendants of Moroccans, this is what your foremothers and forefathers looked like and what their name was. Their free national name, not the slave name of black. Because all these people can easily be referred to as black, yes or no? That's a black dude right there. From the hood somewhere. Compton. Probably a Crip or a Blood nowadays. But in all actuality, his slave name is black. His free national name, Moroccan. This is who we are. Descendants of Moroccans, born in America. There has been a thorough and speedy Americanization of the former Moors. So you see, the whole idea in this presentation or this class is to bring a validity, confirmation to the teachings of Noble Drew Ali. And I'm just basically scraping the surface. There's so much more. There's so much more that Noble said, and there's so much more to show and prove the confirmation of what he said. Where did Noble Drew Ali get the idea to even make the statement or utter the words, children, you're plain rich? You can't just say that out of, I mean, he's a competent man. He ain't gonna just say that to say it. He's not gonna say it just because, oh, we're rich because of our ancestry. No, he's gonna say that because there's some sort of something that he saw that gave him the confidence and the confirmation to speak on such matters so confident. Where did he get that from? Y'all got to know the answer to that. What's this document I got pulled up?
The act of our series.
There you go. What year did the Act of Algeciras come out?
1906.
Was Noble Drew Ali around during the time of the drafting of the Act of Algeciras?
Yes.
Oh. Does it stand a chance that with all his wisdom, I mean, he's a prophet, with all his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, There's a standing reason that he might have read this treaty. Would you say yes? Would you say no?
Yes, it's long. They keep it on for
Okay.
a long time.
Tia, you gotta go on mute. I don't know how that stuff be happening. All right. Let's see. Okay. So, Moorish customs, Moorish port. I'm trying to go without blinding everyone. There we go. Chapter 1, right here. Declaration relative to the organization of the police. Chapter 1. A regulation concerning the detection and repression of the contraband of arms. Chapter 3. An act of concession for a Moroccan state bank. Chapter 4. Get the Moore's favorite chapter. A declaration concerning a better return of taxes and the creation of new revenues. Chapter 5. A regulation concerning the customs of the empire and the repression of fraud and smuggling. Dealing with what? What ports? The Moorish ports. Chapter 6. A declaration relative to public services and public works. That's the whole gambit. That's why it's easy to say one day the Europeans will not be able to conduct business unless they do it through the Moors. Did he not say that, Grand Sheik? Not sure if the Grand Sheik's still on. Or if you are, you're on mute. Clearly, clearly, Noble read these 6 different chapters to be able to say with the full wisdom all the things that he has already that he has said to us. That's on the record. How official it is, it can be questioned. But one thing is for sure, a lot of it is coming. A lot of the what they consider prophecies have or are coming to pass. It is time for every nation to worship under their own pine and fig tree. That time is actually now. Remember, he said that it's going to take 50 years before we can catch on to what he brought us. And it took 50 more years than that. It took 100 years because of the internet. See, all this information now acquired it through the internet. Not in the 80s or the 90s when you have to go to the libraries because yeah, you can go to the library, but the very first step is to know what you're looking for in the first place. So if you don't know what you don't know what to look up. The internet um has been a problem for them because it has allowed us access to this information, which puts us in a position to where we are flies on the wall. We're able to read what they are saying amongst themselves about us, and from that we can come to the conclusion of the truth. It's them who's saying that we're the Moors. It's them who's saying that we run the Moorish government. It's them who's saying that we have all the authority in the world. It's them who's saying that they're in Morocco. It's them who's calling themselves aliens. It's them who said that the United States has no political interest in Morocco. It's them who is saying we signed the Treaty of Peace and Friendship because we wanted to expand our commercial activities in Morocco and experience uh, what life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is them who's asking France, can we please maintain the privileges afforded to us by the treaties, such as being able to hold property. They're pleading this to France because France took over the pen through the Treaty of Fez. Now they run the empire. This is them talking to. So this is not fantasy. It's not, oh, I'm a Moroccan because it sounds good or because it seems it's awesome. It's dope. They wear fezes. It's a beautiful culture. No, it's just what we are. I just showed you the portraits that these painters were painting in the 1800s. There's no, there. I was watching this movie last night, The Queen of Ketwa, I think is the name of it, which is about this little girl who was a prodigy chess player. And the movie took place in Uganda, in her little community called Ketwa. So the whole movie was filmed in that community. And I'm looking at uh, the people, the Ugandans, the Africans. And I'm saying to myself, they don't really look like us. Yeah, we got the same skin texture, skin color, and not even they're darker than us. We're no light skin nobody around there, or like light brown. It was like dark, dark. Every single last one of them in the whole community. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I'm coming to a point. Every single last one of them were had really tightly curled hair, i.e., what we call peasy, which we also have that here. And their mannerisms, how they move and stuff, it's not the same. It's not um it's awkward. Their mannerisms, whereas we have this swag thing, this rhythmic thing with our mannerisms. But when I look at these pictures of these people in Morocco, they don't look like none of those people in Ketwa. They look like the people that I would run into around the corner. That's what I'm trying to say. You can tell the difference. I could, at least I can. It's like we're not really the same. The way they speak, they don't speak with rhythm. It's very awkward. It's weird. It's awkward. If we spoke with that same language, we would speak it, but without the same tone. Is what I'm saying. It would be with this swag thing. This is the reason why everyone on planet Earth want to be like us. There's something uh, unique about us, very stylish. There's something very stylish about us. And more than that, I mean, also it's not just swag, it's also intelligence. And because it's us, we are the motherland. The motherland, everything started in the West. But what I'm saying is that these people in these portraits, they nobody in Ketwa looked like her. This looked like somebody in America. This looked like someone in America. No one looked like that. No one looks like kind of brown skin and stuff. We go from dark all the way to like light, and from nappy all the way to straight hair. The indigenous Mexicans, they don't have nappy hair. They have straight hair. I mean, you see, it's a long range with us in the West. And these folks, every last one of them, if I'm lying, I'm flying. Tell me I'm lying that these people here don't look exactly like us over here. The feature, look at the ring. Look at the ring.
That's a long.
Dude,
That's a lot.
jewelry down and just that they didn't look like him. This guy looks like an American. I mean, am I wrong? Am I looking at this wrong? I mean, I'm engaging the floor. This guy looks American to me.
He definitely looked like somebody granddad, those men. So I
I've seen
definitely.
him a million times.
Look at this guy. He looks American. He looks American. Like these are the Moors. This is what you come from. This is what you look like. This is how you used to dress. That's why Noble Drew Ali said, "Dress like I dress." So the Moorish Science Temple of Morocco, Temple 8, that the Grand Sheik was just speaking earlier, they will be coming into the fold with the empire, right? They will be known as the Imperial Grand Body, the Moorish Science Temple of Morocco. See, everything is the whole idea. Everything that's of America, of means in possession. United America is in United States is in possession of America. The Moorish Science Temple is in possession of America. So the same way a nation can nationalize its resources or businesses, the temples need to be nationalized and come into the possession of Morocco, from under the protections of Morocco. If you say that you're Moorish, then that means you're Moroccan. Come on. So you can't be Moorish of America. If you say Moorish Science Temple of America, take everything else out. MST of A, take the S out, science, take temple out, and then take of out. What's left? If I take out science, temple, and of, what's left?
Moorish America.
There you go. So you're a Moor who's an American. So the temple is American. It's a Moorish American temple. The temple is in possession of America, the foreign jurisdiction, the European nation. We're amalgamating the Moorish sign. The name in it of itself signifies amalgamation. The name Moorish American signifies amalgamation. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father. Notice that it's in bold. Because they honored not the principles of their mothers and fathers, and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. So if you're taking on the nationality of America, you're straying after the gods of Europe because you're not American, which then means that you're in sin. Because through sin and disobedience, what's one of my four principles? Not even mine, the empire's four principles. What's one of them?
Obedience.
There you go. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. Who are their forefathers? Moroccans. My favorite picture is this one. That man looked royal with that garb on like that. That's what you come from. You're not American. So if you keep saying Moorish American, Moorish sign symbol of America, then you're doing exactly what Noble Ali told you not to do. You're not American. The whole idea is for you to grow in knowledge and transition. Transition from being an American to now reestablishing your free national name. And remember, the Europeans told us, where is it at? Uh, let's pull it up real quick. What did the Europeans told us? This is the right of protection in Morocco. Y'all should know where I'm going. Article 15. That's Article 15 that's highlighted. What's the note? Obsolete and without effect. So the Kingdom of Morocco with the United States got together to say that the Moroccan nationality is obsolete and without effect. Why is the Moroccan nationality obsolete and without effect? This is why. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. And that renders your nationality obsolete and without effect. So currently it's coming back into the absolute status. It's no longer obsolete, it's becoming absolute. It is absolute because the empire recognized it as such. It's just that that's not the case in the general populace, in the minds of the people in general. But it's still absolute. What's next? Once it comes into absolute status, now it has what? Full effect. So it says obsolete and without effect. So our goal to decolonize is to make it absolute with effect. Effect to do what? That's a question for the floor.
To
What
be
is the
free.
effect? Was that?
To be free. Freedom.
No. Somebody else. Or you can try again. Come on. Use your mental juices. Effect. A treaty has power when it's in full force and what?
Respect.
Okay. So therefore, absolute with effect. Not without effect, with effect. So our nationality has effect. Effect to do what? I
Be
gave you the answer.
respected, be respected
To
and honored.
effect, no. Effect to enforce laws, Moors. Your nationality has to be absolute in order for you to enforce Moroccan law. You can't enforce Moroccan law as an American. You can only enforce American law as an American. And blacks don't have laws. Blacks are just lawless.
Living in sin, which is death. Civilly
Well,
the
no,
mortus.
living in sin because you are carrying the name of someone else, not honoring the name of your foremothers and forefathers, which renders your nationality obsolete and without effect. No effect to enforce the treaties and collect taxes. No effect to lock people up for violating Moroccan law. No effect to lock Jermaine Diaz Spencer up for being a traitor and seditious to overthrow or attempt to overthrow the sovereignty and the in the territorial integrity and the laws of the empire. I don't have the full effect yet to lock his behind up, but we will and he will go to jail. Effect to enforce laws, Moors. So it became obsolete without effect, and now you're subject to someone else's laws that has effect upon you on your land. Did y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So decolonization brings your power. In other words, decolonization, bringing the absolute status of your Moroccan nationality back to the forefront, allows you the power and capability to enforce the act about your service. That's the effect part. Without that effect, without that authority, it's we're moot. We're nothing. And they get to continue their belligerence, their world hegemony under imperialism, bigotry, and what's the other word? Uh Hegemony. Imperialism, bigotry, and hegemony. That's what they're exercising. They're exercising. The Moors are under capitulations of regimes or regimes of capitulations. We have capitulated. We have surrendered. We were conquered. Became thoroughly, thoroughly and expeditiously Americanized, which rendered our nationality obsolete and without effect because we have strayed away into the realms of the gods of Europe we know nothing of, one of which is American. So for a very long time, damn near a century, or pretty much so, a century, the Moroccan nationality has been obsolete and without effect. Now what we're doing is bringing it back to full effect. And we want to use the temples. The temple is not a religious order, not within the Moroccan jurisdiction. You do what you want within the American jurisdiction, i.e., Moorish Temple of America. You're of America. So you are subject to American laws. The empire, the imperial grand body of the Moorish Temple of Morocco is of Morocco, which is subject to Moroccan laws. And it's a rite of passage. Out of Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. So those who have been lost in the cares of the world, in the Wizard of Oz, in American jurisdiction, will come through the temple, not as a means to convert any religious ideology. You come in as a Christian, you still want to be Christian, you leave as a Christian. Whatever you want to be. It's a secular state. We don't promote any particular religion. Well, it ain't my business what you pray to as long as what you pray to does not harm others. Human sacrifices and all that foolishness regarding your religious practice that has no place in the Moroccan Empire. You can pray to a bowling ball for all I care as long as it's based in peace. Whatever you pray to is what you do. My business is your protections, your prosperity. your security, your wealth. So it's not to convert you to Islamism or any religious anything, but you will be made aware of your historical, your the divine aspect of your history and your culture. Because it is true that historically speaking, especially through the empire, it was an Islamic state, and we were adherents to Islam. We were Muslims and Muslims. But if you go BC, before Christ, before Muhammad, what were we? Before the Quran was written, were we Muslims? Probably not. Before the Bible was written, were we Christians? Probably not. So that's Sankofa, going reaching back. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. That's too far to go. In the meantime, let's learn, master international law, statehood, government. But the temple will serve as a rite of passage, a school of thought in which you will relearn your ancient principles, your infirmities, your ancient principles, your nationality, where you come from, who you are, your empire, the treaties, so on and so forth. After that, which the legislative act, which hasn't been passed yet, calls for 90 days, unless you're able to complete the task sooner. And you're signed off, the Grand Sheik signs off on your completion. Then you petition the WRC, trusteeship system. You see how this works? The trusteeship system, the WRC represents kind of like the immigration department of the United States. That's the through way to gain your nationality, the trusteeship system. So once you complete that erudition process, that boot camp process, if you will, then you're ready to petition the WRC trusteeship system for your nationality. And that's how we're bridging the whole thing together, the divine and the national movement. See, knowledge of self is divine. Divine has nothing to do with religion per se. It has everything to do with who you are as a Moor. Your history, your long lost and forgotten history has to be brought back to you again. That's the divine portion. You're relearning who you once was because you have been bamboozled, hoodwinked, and strayed far away. You have strayed where? How far have our Negro leaders have strayed us? Let me show you. Strayed after the gods of Europe. They caused us to stray after the gods of Europe. So now we're Americans, and it's shameful. But the empire is here in conjunction with Temple number 8 under Grand Sheik's leadership, Grand Sheik Holloway Ale, to bring this back together for the people once again. Um, and this is what we believe the um, prophecies. This is a prophetic uh, demonstration that um, it was written, and it's not up to me to get in the way. It's up to me to recognize it and and be a good steward to assist in the development and establishment of the prophecy. I gotta have my eyes open, my ears open to see and see. I gotta be seeing and knowing in order to help bring this thing together. And the whole thing is based on unity, solidarity, unity, loyalty, conformity, and obedience. Without that, we have nothing. Without unity, we have nothing. So this is a call for the Moorish Americans in the Moorish Science Temple of America to, at the very least, go back and study the reference points. At the very least, uh, reach out. We have an open door policy. I have an open door policy. I'm always willing to sit down and dialogue with the brothers and sisters to find a common ground to accomplish the goal. But we do have a common ground. What is the common ground? Can somebody tell me what is our common ground that we have with all our people? I don't care what you call yourself. We all have the same thing in common. What is the common ground, Morris?
We're still colonized.
There you go.
Decolonization.
Colonialism is the common ground. And the solution to colonialism is what? Decolonization. So all we have is one another. CMB, we all we got. New Jack City. It's different now, don't it? We all we got. Nobody else ain't gonna do it for us. But then we are also the only ones who are getting in our own way. So go back and listen, or go back and read what them folks was saying about you. They said that you're native Moors in Morocco, Islam. So we'll close out after I yield the floor for any comments, questions, or concerns. I know I rambled a lot, but um, this was important to try and do my best to. The Moors like to say Noble Ali didn't say that. Noble Ali didn't bring that. Well, we just read his Circle 7 and he said Moroccan Empire. He didn't say American Empire. We also know that he said descendants of Moroccans. We also know that he said that the Moabites is the modern name for the Moabites is Moroccan. We established the Moroccan Empire, not USAR, not a Mexamor Empire, not the Moorish American government, not no other name other than the name that's in the Circle 7 Quran, and also the name that's in the treaty, Moroccan Empire. So you can't sit there and say that Noble didn't tell you, didn't say that when we just read over chapter 47. Islam, so I yield for any questions, comments, or concerns. All righty. I know it's a lot of information to digest. So digest it. Oh man, somehow I'm now getting an echo.
Islam.
Yes, bro. We're getting ready to close out. What happened?
Uh, Islam is
Yes, go ahead, bro.
Our Majesty. It was very eye-opening tonight, and I appreciated the entire presentation with you and the brother, and all the thought and energy that you put into going back and finding the correct alignment with the secular part of our Constitution. I recognize that. I recognize that work. I recognize how long ago that was when we had that session, and I now see it's a very masterful move that you've made, that's going to benefit the empire greatly. And I just wanted to thank you. I yield.
Islam Wazir, my bro. I appreciate that. Uh, well, you're the reason why I was echoing. Now that you're on mute, I don't echo anymore. Um, yes, and it's just so everyone know, it was this gentleman, the Wazir of DQSR, who pointed out to be mindful of not violating the secular system of the empire, right? Based on the legislative act that I wrote to recognize the temple as the Temple of Morocco, the Imperial Grand Major Body. Um, and the idea was, well, we can't impose Islam on the people, or any religion for that matter, and that's correct. So I had to rethink my steps and course correct on the language and what the approach would be, and that's what the approach is. It has nothing to do with religion, right? And that's why I was pointing out in the Circle Seven that the Circle Seven is not necessarily about religion either. You see, that was the whole point of me pointing that out. By the way, I lost that point somewhere along the line. You see, chapter 47 in particular, chapter 22, magistrates and subject. Look at the title, magistrates and subject. That ain't nothing to do with religion. That deals with jurisdiction. That deals with authority. That deals with politics. That deals with civics. That's what that deals with. Same as chapter 47, but you have to be built up. We have to be raised up from a place in which we were basically lost sheeple, straying after Europeans, taking on their last name, taking on their nationality, and in doing so, committing a great sin by not honoring the your foremothers and forefathers in name and principle. We are the ones we had. Didn't we just go over the Riff? So if the Riffian pirates are in Morocco, and the Riffian pirates look like this guy right here, then I don't know what to tell you, Morris. The Riff is a Moroccan tribe. Look at his name. Was Noble tripping? Where you get the name Ale from? El Haji Taraji. Ale. The resolution said that these are the names that we were used to at home, didn't it? Where is it at? Right? It said that the Moorish Americans have since being here missed the use of the titles and name annexations that were so familiar at home. So at home, which is Morocco, we use names like El. I mean, you just put two and two together, man. I don't know what else to tell the Moors, but can't say Noble Drew Ali didn't say that if all this other information is confirming what Noble Drew Ali said. Noble Drew Ali said, and also we're doing what Noble Drew Ali said for us to do. I appreciate you recognizing it as a masterful move because our people need a temple designed as a learning institution. Like I was telling you, brother, the Mormons have two entities within the same church. One is a church, the other is a temple. They don't go to the temple to praise and worship anything. That's what they do in the church. And all the members who don't know nothing, who are being kept in the dark, having them think that it's something about some religious whatever, while the elders and the learned members attend the temple in secret for further erudition. And in doing so, they control the rest of the members who are just going to church. So a temple is a learning center. So the Moorish Temple of Morocco is a learning center for the Moors to learn of their infirmities and to learn who they are so that they can now take their place in the affairs of men because out of Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. Y'all got me? And that's the direction that we're going in. Any other questions or comments before we close out? I would like to say thank you to Grand Sheik Holloway Ale um, for recognizing the beauty in this decolonization approach and mechanism. It's an arduous task, and together we can accomplish more. Right?
Right.
Many embodied
Many
one in
embody
mind.
one in mind.
You came off
Came
mute
on
this time
mute this
again,
time
Wazir.
again,
Go ahead,
Wazir.
brother.
I second that gratitude. That's all. I'm just seconding that gratitude to the
Mhm.
to the Grand Sheik. And
That's
I
right.
know I gave you a little pushback on the temple conversation, but you come to know me as a tire kicker, and again you qualified everything for me. Thank you again.
Mm-hmm. Well, Morris. That's what we're here for. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to bring us all together and destroy, in all caps, with swords, destroy colonialism, bring about complete decolonization for the upliftment of fallen humanity across planet Earth. Adhering to a new world of a multipolar world in which you don't have this one hegemon who's bringing terror to the world. The United States, Israel. See, I don't concern myself with the Jews. Don't talk about the Jews, they'll cancel you. You can't, I'm the Sultan of the Empire of Morocco. And ain't no Jew, real or otherwise, will be able to shut me down. I ain't the one. And I know they're listening. Take that to the bank. Cash it in. We, the Moroccans, are the elite on planet Earth. We are the direct children of the Most High. Period. Period, point blank. As such, we will have legislation similar to the so-called Anti-Defamation League Act, in which you can't say nothing about a Jew or you're going to go to jail. Well, that's going to be the same for Moroccans. You better watch your mouth about a Moroccan and how you refer to us and how you talk about us and how you deal with us. That is to come. And I've already said this before. So this is nothing new to them, the colonists. And to close out, let it be known, AMPAC 2.0 are fugitives of the law, Moroccan law. Camden Bey is a fraudulent sultan, and he will be dealt with. Jermaine Diaz Spencer is a seditious and treasonous black man in a fez, purporting to be something else and leading you astray, I believe. He is compromised. And he too will be dealt with retroactively upon decolonization because it is us under my leadership that will complete the mission of decolonization. They will absolutely trust me much more than they would trust some 220-year, 2-decade drug dealing, clownish, fraudulent sultan. And some treasonous judge who's conducting the affairs of the empire from behind the scenes through his puppet, so-called Prime Minister DeAndre Dre Bay. Did y'all hear what I said? They will get dealt with that. Peace, love, and prosperity. Long live the empire and his majesty the Sultan.
Long live the Moroccan Empire and His Majesty
Long
the
live the
Long
empire and
Sultan.
his
live the
majesty the
All
empire and his
Sultan.
us
Peace and
majesty, the
love,
all.
Moors.
Sultan. Peace
We
and
are one
love.
people.
Long
We are
live
Peace and
one
love.
state.
Peace and
We
love,
are one
Morris.
nationality. Islam Moors.
the empire and his majesty Sultan Islam. Right.